I'm expecting Sue Call and Lucy to be online.
Okay.
And Andy Crawford, and Neil sent his pocket.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Cabinet meeting of the Vale Whitehorse District Cabinet today, which is the 7th of March already, 2025. And welcome you all to Abbey House and those online, and nice to see you. So today we will start the agenda with Chair's announcements, and I don't think there's anything pressing that I need to convey to anyone today. We do have some apologies. I believe Councillor Fawcett sending his apologies, and we have a few online. So shall we do a head count?
I had messages from Councillor Fawcett, Councillor Sue Call, and I got apologies for those two people, but Sue might turn up online. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I went to online, and also Councillor Crawford online as well.
And we've got Councillor Lucy Edwards also online as well.
I can't see whether you've got Sue Call on there.
Do you want to do a head count?
We could just check.
Yeah, we're just checking.
Councillor Call, are you online?
Not here yet.
No.
Well,
we'll just
you've noted her apologies anyway, so
yeah,
be attending, but we're definitely for it. That's me. So we have Councillor Pickhills, Councillor Balsham, myself, Councillor Thomas, and Councillor Coleman, and Councillor Dover in the room. So definitely for it. And welcome to Councillor Edwards and Crawford online. So we're going on to the minutes. Item number 3. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes of the previous meeting?
Yep.
Yeah. And is everybody content that they are a true and accurate record of the meeting? Thank you. I will sign those off when I have the opportunity. Item number 4, declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest for items coming up?
No.
No. Okay. 5, urgent business. I don't think there's anything. We didn't note the fire and emergency procedure, but I am assuming that everybody should know it by now. I would, yes, it's basically
just follow me, maybe.
Yeah, follow Candida, yes.
I've practiced it once, haven't we?
Yes, we were here, and we did have a fire, sort of. So we know what to do. And so item 6, public participation.
We haven't had any registered.
No. I have been having a chat to Hayley Gascoigne, Councillor Gascoigne, who chairs SEAC. She was trying to come online. If she does manage to, we could maybe
invite her to speak.
Yeah, if that's okay. And so we're going on straight from there to recommendations and updates from other committees. So if Councillor Gascoigne is online. She may want to speak.
I can.
Would you like me to speak?
If you'd like to, Councillor Gascoigne.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you. I was debating whether to come or not because this is obviously a super important piece of work for the climate, for our climate agenda on the council, and obviously as the Climate Emergency Advisory Committee, super important that we fed into it. But you know, the officers did such a good job and really consulted us all along the way through bringing it back to committee at each committee, actually each meeting we had, and task and finish groups in between, that by the time it's got to this point, we're really happy with it and just glad to see that it's now coming to cabinet. But yeah, I had to cast my mind back because we discussed it at our last meeting, which was in December. But yeah, as you can see from your report, we didn't have any specific recommendations at this time. But yeah, just really glad to see it come to you. And then the only other thing I wanted to say that we weren't aware of at the time when we were discussing this in December is that the impact that local government reorganisation may have on our work, but I know that affects all the work across the council, and we're not unique in that. So obviously that will be it'll be a shame to see that perhaps we won't be able to complete everything that we want in there. But fortunately, the way that that it's been set up and that the climate team have set it up is that there's constant opportunity for review when setting sort of yearly plans, and so that should set itself up for delivering what we can with the time and the money that we have left in our term as the Vale of Whitehorse District Council. So yeah, please consider the report, but we're really happy with it.
No, thank you very much, Councillor Gascoigne. Some really good points raised there, and I'm very pleased that SEAC was consulted so thoroughly throughout the process, and I was going to mention that in my introduction, so thank you for reiterating that. Thank you. So, given that we have no other speakers for recommendations, shall we, if we are going to take recommendations, we'll take them at each of the points. So we can then go straight on to item number 8, which is the Oxfordshire Leaders Joint Committee Terms of Reference report. I'm introducing that. But there are recommendations from scrutiny?
Yeah, they were in the previous agenda item.
Yes, yeah.
They're listed there.
Yeah. Has everybody had a chance to see those items and recommendations? I just wanted to note that now, and then I will introduce that and we can have any discussion afterwards. So, I'm so used to saying thank you, Chair, but I can't say thank you, Chair, because I'm chairing. But so the terms of reference being presented to Cabinet today follow previous discussions by Cabinet and also by joint scrutiny and JAG, as I've just mentioned. It reflects the shift we've seen from the future Oxford partnership structure to a new format, and equally it should be recognised that there's been a shift of the role of this group since the publishing of the white paper on devolution and local government reorganisation. Key changes to the terms of reference from the previous version is the name of the group from the future partnership to the Oxfordshire Leaders Joint Committee Terms of Reference. The membership, which I think is very important, it is now just the 6 leaders of the 6 constituent authorities. Advisory groups have been removed, and task and finish groups will be established if needed for specific topics and subjects. And also the scrutiny function has been removed. However, there is an ability for individual councils to use their own scrutiny committees to look at items, but ultimately it's unlikely that any decisions are likely to be taken at joint committee. Any decisions are coming from the growth deal, and that's sort of winding up, so there's not anything really there to make a decision on. It remains as a joint committee as it was to cover the remaining of the Oxfordshire Housing and Growth Deal, as I just said, and related capacity funding. Officers have sought to narrow the focus of the areas of business onto generic projects such as the LAEP, so the Local Area Energy Partnership Plan, Net Zero Route Plan, and Action Plan. Officers have also sought more flexible wording around it being a forum for discussing. The only change on the Memorandum of Understanding is the name of the committee. So that's basically all I have to say. The only new point to note to update on the report is in paragraph 21-22, where OCC are taking the decision by individual member decision rather than via their cabinet, and that there is to that's to take place on the 10th of March, next Monday, rather than 25th of February as stated in the report. And yeah, the Travel Cabinet apparently has approved the report already in the 2nd of March. So I am happy to recommend this report to Cabinet and invite any discussion. As we suggested, there were some recommendations from scrutiny. Councillor Coleman, did you have anything to add?
No, I mean, I think we've all had the opportunity to look at those, and they will be factored in our discussion on whether we accept the report or not. I think this is this has gone through quite a lot of review, particularly from officers. Spent some considerable time. I know that the head of legal has had meetings with his counterparts on the other councils. I think it probably wouldn't be inaccurate to say, were we to be starting afresh, that probably the terms of reference and memorandum of understanding would not be written as it is now. However, because this is a continuation of future Oxfordshire partnership, I think it's good enough to do what we require it to do. I think particularly with local government reorganisation coming up, I think we should be mindful of the workload that's on us, but also on officers, and therefore not needlessly make changes. So I'm comfortable that what's in here is fit for purpose. I think the significant thing really is the removal of the advisory groups, such that this then becomes more of a joint group. So I can just see Nick coming up here. So the head of the league, I'm not sure whether he wants to let me know that he's there, or whether he wants to stop me because I've said something I shouldn't have said. Fair enough. Okay. Well, I'll take that as I will carry on until I see something being thrown at me. So no. So I think this is fit for purpose. It certainly will help us, and it's a good forum, I think, in terms of progressing our thinking on local government reorganisation. It keeps that engagement with the other councils, and I think it's right that it is on, if you like, those who are elected that are on the board, and presumably they can still call in people for advice. So it doesn't exclude, but it does mean that the focus is on the councils. So I'm very, very happy with it, and I'm happy to second the acceptance of it.
So I would like to thank both scrutiny and joint scrutiny, I should say, and JAG for their involvement and their consideration of this report, and we have taken into account your recommendations, and I think we've noted them, but now I think we should move to the vote if everybody is content with what's. Yeah.
Can I was just interested that both the advisory committees commented that they thought it shouldn't be majority voting, it should be by consensus, given that it's a forum and not a
yeah, well,
and I just wanted to hear really Nick's views on that, because clearly he's looked at this, but it was interesting that both committees came back with the same comment, and I can probably guess why, but
Nick.
Look, this is about being effective and transparent, and I think the structure that you've got there makes sure that it can be transparent discussion publicly on matters that need to be public. The way that it's set up was one that all the parties could live with, and doesn't sort of force anyone down avenues, but does enable some strong decision making to be made in a public and transparent way. So it's been set up to do that, really. I mean, as to the motivations that led to it, I mean, really the leader, as the person who was at the group, was probably the better person to answer questions on that. But as a vehicle to deliver that debate, and as a vehicle to enable transparency and visibility of the debate, the decision making that you've got there is one that functions for the job. There are various breaks, I call them, on the whole of the process, as far as the setting of the agenda, as far as the ability of each council that's a participant, the constituent councils, to step away and say, look, we're not going to be involved in those debates. Yeah. And with those things in mind, this way of decision making gives the best flexibility in that context. So it's a bit of around the houses answer, Councillor. I'm sorry, but I think one of the other councillors earlier said maybe this isn't how we'd have started, but from where we are, this is the right way to make decisions in a difficult context of local government reorganisation and a very flexible, moving feast world. I hope that helps. If I've got any more specific questions, I'll answer, Chair.
Thank you, Nick. And I think the point that you mentioned about openness and transparency is the thing that I find most important, because I think there was a little bit of confusion at scrutiny that this was not an open and transparent public meeting, but that is the point of what we have going forward. It is an open public meeting, and
I think it would be true to say over the last few months, let's say, that actually it has been more open, and we have our report that goes to full council. Yeah. So there is a POP report that goes to full council. Agendas are published. And
distributed to all members.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think the POP as was, and now the joint board recognises is the requirement for it, and I think they're doing the best they can. I think the point that Nick said about the break points is very important to us. And the other councils, that if we felt there was a proposal that was coming forward that we couldn't support, then we do have the opportunity to make that clear. And also decisions are made by councils. As an example of that is the fact that each of the councils has to go through their own process in order to approve these. So I think it's good. I think it is much more now open transfer. I'm not saying I'm not saying it wasn't, but here it is demonstrably so.
I think as our cabinet has suggested, that we have wanted it to be much more open to all members of the council, and that's why we've put in place the reports to full council. So that's good. So if we are content now, can we come to a vote? So I am recommending, and I believe, shall I read out the recommendations? I'll read it from yours. So the recommendation that Cabinet approve the revised terms of reference and memorandum of understanding. These will take effect following approval by each of the 6 Oxfordshire councils. So that is my recommendation. Councillor Coleman seconding it. Everybody agree?
Agreed.
Thank you. So moving on to the second major item, and that is the Nature and Climate Action Plan. Now I've got a few notes for that. I'm introducing both papers here and sharing it, so apologies for my dominance in this meeting. So I am introducing the Nature and Climate Action Plan 2025 to 2020. Well, mine it's a bit slightly different now, but. So I really welcome this report coming together. I'm very happy to introduce it today, and I'm very grateful to Councillor Gascoigne, who spoke about it earlier. This action plan fulfills one of our priorities, aiming to meet our climate targets and improve biodiversity and nature recovery across the district, tempered only now by the prospect of local government reorganisation and the timescales that may be imposed on us. The Council's first climate action plan was launched in 2022 and finished at the end of 2024. The new NCAP, for brevity, updates the original climate action plans and adds actions to deliver against the new council plan priorities around nature recovery and adapting to the impacts of a changing climate. The nature and climate action plan has been developed with the oversight of SEAC, as has been said, and we are very grateful for their inputs. It will be delivered across all council services, and I think all officers have been involved through surveys, and it's been a whole council activity getting this together. So very grateful to everybody who's inputted. It focuses on several different themes, including our own aspirations to reach operational net zero across the district, which is a bit more difficult for us to have any direct control on, but we can influence, and we have been doing that already. It will also drive efforts towards nature recovery, and also the means by which we can adapt to climate change, supporting our residents and communities to adapt to extremes of a changing climate. I am very grateful to officers for putting in all the work to get us to this point. Dominic Lamb is in the room today, and I believe Chloe is online. So if you have any questions, I'm sure they will be able to answer them. In conclusion, I hope you are able to accept this report and commend it today. Thank you. Yes, first up the mark.
Just a question. I believe that South Oxford's cabinet addressed this yesterday. So as it is a joint plan, can I just confirm whether they did accept it? They approved it. Okay, thank you. So.
So any questions or comments? Is that Councillor Wilson?
Thank you, Chair. I'm delighted to see this report and this work going forward. As I went through the work preparing our new council plan, which we've most recently adopted, this was a key piece of evidence that helped me formulate that council plan. It informed it. It was actually an exemplar of what we can do really well, because it is now so embedded in our council's actions and our day-to-day operations, but also in our long-term planning. And I feel that this is actually how it should be, that we have set our big agenda, and we then get the detail of how we're going to implement it. It looks really good. I'm tremendously grateful to CEAC for their hard work in fleshing out the details, building on our commitments, and saying this is how we can implement it. I'm looking forward to the reporting that will come through from our new council plan to actually explain, not just to those of us who love getting down with the details, but to our residents, the man and woman in the street, exactly how the Vale is making a difference in meeting the climate and nature emergency. This is good stuff. This is what we should be doing. It's what we should be proud of. So I'm delighted to support it.
Thank you. Anybody else with any comment? Questions? Dom, would you like to add anything? No. Okay. No. If everybody is
Literally the second.
yeah, who would like to say? Thank you. So having proposed the having introduced the report, could I ask for the recommendation to be approved? So that the recommendation is that Cabinet formally approve and adopt the South Oxfordshire and Vale of Whitehorse Joint Nature and Climate Action Plan 2025 to 2029. Seconded by Councillor Horsham. Everybody agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed. Thank you very much. And as that is the last item on the agenda, that is the end of the meeting. So I will close the meeting by 10:55. So everyone, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.